Hi guys, how you doing today?
Hello, good. How are you?
Hi, and you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. It's been a lovely, calm, relaxing day for me. Are you in the office right now at Ulas
Yeah, we're in the office.
in sunny Shenzhen
Yeah, and Singapore. Yeah,
and Singapore as well, all over the
Mm.
world? So, guys, can you
All
tell
over
us
the
a little?
world.
Firstly, can you introduce yourselves and then tell us a little bit about Ulas?
Yeah. So to start, I'm here. I'm the co-founder of Ulas. So I joined the Bitcoin. I joined the crypto back in 2017. I was a professional poker player, and then I was introduced by one of the player that I play with in the table. So I bought one Bitcoin back in 2017, which with the best crypto exchange in Canada, which eventually makes me lose all of the money within pretty much 2 months. And since then, I have decided, okay, this thing might be not as mature as it is for me to use. So after that, I have been working in internet marketing as agency. I had my own marketing agency for 5 years, and then it was back in the last year, the end of last year, and a lot of NFT projects came to me and it's like, can you help us do marketing of our NFT? And I was like, yeah, you guys paid a lot, like generously. And yeah, and I started to rejoin the crypto pretty much last year and made quite success in marketing others NFT projects. And then I joined one of my clients, this company, which is Ulas. But we're not doing NFT, but we are using NFT as a sort of protocol and mechanism to incentivize social activities, and we can talk about it later. So that's pretty much my journey towards the crypto, back towards the crypto. Let's call it that way.
Yeah, so I was involved in crypto space like in 2017 with the first bubble of Bitcoin. So I heard also from friend who he started to invest, like he said like, oh, you see right now it's 5,000, now 12,000, 20,000, and now I start to invest when it's about 17, and then it's crashed. So I say, yeah, thanks, my friend, to give me this advice because now I lose pretty much what I put.
Crush better than losing, eh?
I guess so. Yeah, just like you did in Canada. I thought you were so lucky when you said you invested in 2017. And then when you told me what firm you invested in, I was like, oh, so unlucky.
So from that mistake, I say like, okay, I want to understand what is behind this technology, how it's work, and so on. So yeah, I start to get my first job in this area in Shenzhen, 17. So from that, I learned different kind of projects, different kind of mechanisms, different kind of consensus. And then it was from investment companies. So I was involved to make some different due diligence, like to analyze the team, to analyze the roadmap, and so on. At the end, I say, okay, right now I want to also involve in more deep, like how to develop from the beginning how to use blockchain to solve the common problem in the current world. So this is why I joined the startup who built his own ecosystem also. And I was in charge to promoting, obviously promoting. And then after that, I meet Kier and we now
join as a team.
Yeah.
To market Ulas, yes.
Oh, nice. So how long has Ulas been under creation then? How long have you been working on it for?
We've been working it for over 3 months, and we made some progress. So just to give a very brief introductions of what we're trying to do in the Cosmos ecosystem, our slogan pretty much sums it up. Our slogan is, Facebook is making $100 billion a year by selling personal data. And that money should be in your pocket, user's pocket. So that's our slogan. So eventually, and to achieve that, we are building a social application chain on Cosmos. So, and that includes the basic consensus layer protocol and these applications alongside with it. Yeah, basically, in short, we're just building a social application chain on Cosmos. And before that, we've been work for 3 months, and we have launched our NFT marketplace and social applications, and all the base layer of the consensus and protocol has been done. So we're just pretty much, I'm excited to pretty much announce it pretty much next week. So July, mid of July, something like that. Yes.
Interesting. So why the Cosmos then? Why would you want to work in the social media kind of industry on the Cosmos particularly?
For the project, when I meet the founder, Aaron, we have been working closely with other projects. So we've been working with, as developer with Polkadot. We received grant last year from Polkadot as a data analysis tool, but we never stayed there because we felt like within the development tool in Polkadot, every iterations. So if we want to make our product better, it takes at least 2 weeks. It's just not very developer friendly for us to build great products. And before that, we're in Solana and we're in ETH as well. And it's the same problem. In fact, they have more users, they have more active users, pretty much multiple times than in Cosmos right now. But we just felt like it's time for not trading, not financing. It's time to build actually tangible products. And Cosmos sounds like the final solution for us to build it.
Would you say that's because, sorry to interrupt, would you say that's because of sovereignty? The idea that you can pretty much govern everything on the Cosmos that allows you to change things more rapidly. Is that why you're able to respond to changes so quickly? Yeah.
In terms of building protocol, in terms of having control of what's on chain and how to govern it, as well as if you want to build applications on it, Cosmos is there to help us because they have this Cosmos SDK and module to help us to build an application quicker and better.
Yeah, I heard it's like it's plug and play slots, right? You can essentially slot in a governance mechanism. You can slot in a tokenomics mechanism.
Yeah. So we have design of tokenomics, and like the development of our own chain takes only 4 to 5 days. And that would be 3 times, 4 times more if we were developing such things on Ethereum and Solana and Polkadot, something like that.
Wow, very developer friendly then. And I think this is quite fascinating in a way because it's a slow movement, but it's a serious movement. A lot of applications are moving over to the Cosmos. One big case in point recently this week was DYDX.
Yes, indeed.
And they want to have their own governance as well, their ability to change and modify things that are moving forward for them. And this is just the start, in my opinion. Like we are on a fast-moving train, and we don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to go somewhere great. It might even discover Atlantis.
As long as we're not drowned, it's fine. But yeah, just to add more information of why Cosmos was the ultimate solution for us. So from Antonio, like the founder of DYDX, he said something like, they are creating 1,000 of inquiries per seconds of sellings and canceling sellings. So if we're building social applications, that would be 10 times, 20 times better, greater than that. So we are expecting 20,000 inquiries per second. And if you are doing on Ethereum, there's no way you can sort of process that much data and inquiries to form a block. And Cosmos sounds like the best solution for us right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to do roll-ups and stuff, like on, second layer roll-ups, put them on chain, but even that has a limit in terms of its speed.
Yeah, and I just felt like if you are seeing this blockchain chain to be building complicated products that's tangible and people are going to use it every day, you might have considered Cosmos as the ultimate solution. And we're seeing more builders join the ecosystem.
Yeah, it makes sense. So what we're looking at then essentially from a practical standpoint then is SDK modules that are plug and play, fantastic, quicker to create, your own governance, and also speed. So you're going to be able to ultimately, if you have millions of users firing messages off every millisecond, the Cosmos is going to be able to cope with that. Even when we saw massive withdrawals recently during the lunar crash, we were able to see that the Cosmos system, the ecosystem, handled it effortlessly, even with all the extra traffic. So yeah, I also agree that it's a good choice in that regard, in many regards. So let's move forward then. So talking about this kind of social concept, why do you think kind of social media will become important in the crypto space? I know we have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have the traditional mediums that are centralized, that are governed in their own way. What makes you think that the crypto space, the decentralized space, is going to take over social media for the future?
Okay. I'm gonna start, and you can add more information. Okay. So we've been discussed about one topic, and that topic is how to sell personal data as individual, not as a centralized institution. Back to 2 years ago. So I've been discussing this topic with Aaron for 2 years. It was until last year when NFT actually thrived, and it's like, boom, that's the answer to the personal data selling. Because that ERC 721 and the technology and business model come alongside with it, just to set up this fundamental sort of consensus and protocol for who owns what data and whether if you want to sell it or show it to a certain person, and as well as the social score alongside with it. So you can consider first, you have these Cosmos developer tools that enable us to build social applications on chain and analyze the data throughout different blockchains like Ethereum, like Solana. And also you have this NFT, which can make sure that you as a person can claim your rights of the data. And also every your social activities can be wrapped as an NFT and sold on an NFT marketplace. So say advertisers can come out to you and say, hey, I want to buy your NFT. It can be a post. It can be a post that you send and 20 of your friends retweet and likes. And Nike is going to pay you, say, $100 for 3 hours of your social influencers to promote their brand. You're going to wake up one day and say, hey, I have received $100 from Nike because I sold my NFT. I put it on publish on NFT marketplace, and people who likes because you need to pay for likes for comment, and people who participate in the post are going to receive a incentive commissions alongside of the advertisers revenues towards directly to you. So you can consider, so in short, the technology is ready to be such things. 2 years ago, it's not ready. The NFT, the use of NFT, the Cosmos ecosystem, the mature level of it are just not ready for it. Right now, it's just get ready. Like the technology is ready. But we've been discussing this for 2 years, so now it's time. Now is the perfect time for us to build it.
All right, so essentially then it's basically the big organizations like Nike that would normally pay Facebook for large multi-level advertising campaigns. These fees that they pay will then instead go to the content creators on the platform in a distributed manner. Okay, that makes logical sense.
And also on top of that, I think like right now is quite a good timing to involve in social app, because with the intersection with GameFi and also NFT, and now more and more people now spend time on chain, and so this is why like Web3 deserve to focus and to contribute in this social app. if we, for example, because we can solve many a problem with the Web3 in the social aspect. So for us, like our approach, I mean, we want more focus on the graph aspect and
Social graph.
Yeah, social graph aspect, and also the decentralized ID. So for example, with this kind of this, you can own your own data. So we can solve a problem of monetization, like what we mentioned before. And also we can so own your own like social interaction, like what you like, what you follow, and so on, and your social relation, like your followers and so on. So for example, if you upload video on YouTube, as your case at the end of this day, so if you, for example, if YouTube tomorrow doesn't fit your value or you want to change any platform, you can, with Ulas, with our platform, you can go to the other YouTube and you have your own followers, you have your own data and so on. So that means like, it's not like a silo like before in Web 2, but mean like all is independent, like you have an account for Snapchat, YouTube, and so on. But you have one wallet and you can have access to every platform. And you can own your whole activity, but also own your own social graph, like mean like your social activity and your social relation.
Yeah.
And the idea is like, because we can solve many aspects in the social aspect in Web3, but for our focus right now is monetization, and then we hope like to contribute in other aspects in the future. And yeah, so this is why pretty much the roadmap from now.
Yeah, I was reading about this. It's quite fascinating, the concept of owning your own data and having that data being fully transferable. So you no longer like a certain platform, bang, copy and paste that data onto on a different platform. Just go in and out and move it around as you see fit and sell it to the highest bidder, essentially. All right, so then on the Cosmos, we have seen lots of interesting things appear, like Desmos and LikeCoin. I did an interview with the founders of LikeCoin recently. Now, with LikeCoin, they have quite an interesting situation where they've kind of already created a decentralized Twitter. However, it hasn't really taken off in a way that people would have expected. Is there any reasons why you think that might have occurred?
Because I think for us, it's quite a different thing we want to do, because our target and aim is not to replace Twitter. We don't want to do the new Twitter. For our perspective, we think like, Web3 will not replace Web2, but we combine the two aspects. That means like, we don't want to replace Twitter, but we want to improve some aspect like the monetization of
social activities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just felt like this. For Desmos, I'm not very sure, but for LikeCoin, they have launched some great products that works as good as Twitter. But if you're just building a Twitter and kind of just incentivize as a very base level economic model behind it to support, which means that you can have social activities on chain, but you need to answer, okay, if you put that on chain, which requires cost of posting, of liking, what's the incentive and monetization of this economic activities? So think of every social activities that you do on the decentralized social application is an economic activity. You are expecting something for return, just like Facebook is charging for what? Facebook is spending 150 million on data center because they see potential return on covering the cost. So we just focus on monetization and we just focus on one answer, which is monetize the data, and what kind of data and who will pay for it. We focus on that. So we might be a very good combinations and cooperation with the LikeCoin and other social applications that's already fully built, like Lancer. I think they're on Ethereum or something. They can just, yeah. So if they need to find a model for those users to monetize, to make money eventually, so we can help them with that.
All right. So rather than being competitive with them, it's actually potentially cooperative, and you can help with the monetization aspect of people using these social media platforms and controlling their own data. The next question then is, if people know that it's going to be monetized and they know these large organizations might give them money, what will stop thousands of people just generating the same content in order to access the money from these organizations? If people are getting paid for their content, right, what they produce,
they don't get paid directly.
All right, they don't get paid directly, but what's to stop like loads of people just saying, hey, hashtag Nike, Nike's really good, and then everybody getting like $1 for that, so everybody's just like kind of generating the same crappy content. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. So first of all, it's not everyone of the people who post anything is going to incentivize. It's just like investment activity. You can potentially lose money by investing in it, right? So, and the reason why people are spending money on liking and commenting a post is that we are going to have a list, like a ranking. So the top 10 will show, or top 20 will only show top 20 to a certain advertisers. Only that top 20 posts are going to receive advertising's budget.
So, sorry to interject. So these top 20, will they be kind of upvoted by the people that read it, or will you be looking at reader time rather than upvotes? How will you be measuring who falls into the top 20?
Basically, like people, like the amount of people commenting and likings and retweets, and people needs to pay for their social activities. Like for example, if you need to like a certain post from someone, you need to pay for a certain fee for that. And it might sound bizarre at the very beginning because people are just very used to using free applications, especially social applications. But you can consider it, as I mentioned before, like economic activities. So, for example, if you have considered this post as a mining block, so you are using your social activities that cost you 1 to 2 Ulas, which is our token, but you're expecting a return from it. And we have no problem with people flushing in and say, hey, if you want to do something like scams or just push a certain content to the top 3, because they need to pay eventually. So yeah.
All right. So basically, if they post on Ulas, then they're able to receive Ulas tokens for their post. On top of that, they might get also sponsorship rewards from large organizations. Is that the general idea?
Yeah.
So ultimately, at the moment, it's about taking investment from the big organizations and distributing that to the users in a different way to what was done before. Distributing money to Facebook, they take all the money. Now it would be distributing the money to the users and the content creators. And people are rewarded based on likes by other people using the platform. Also, we know that it's transferable to other platforms if you decide you don't like a platform. So moving forward from this then. Now, next question then really is about freedom of speech and how that would be moderated. And it's quite of an interesting thing, right? Because we've discussed about this before, I believe. Like, what stops it becoming another 4chan, where like it just becomes the darkest ends of the internet because it can be anonymous if you want it to be. You create your own wallet, and then you just start posting a whole bunch of trash because you want to. Now, how will Ulas decide to regulate that? Because lots of different organizations are regulating in very different ways their kind of social media stuff.
Yes. Okay, that's another great question, actually. We've been discussing it for a very long time, but here is our solution of this content sort of custodial. The reason why we want to have this content regulated is because it's public. But what if a certain content is only available for a certain group of people within the community? So if you love a certain type of content, you would be within that community. If you are out, that means you like this content. And as for regulating this, what can be seen by public, we're creating a sort of like enclave, a small closed community for those people who like a certain content. So there's going to be a less public content than what you have seen on the Twitter and everything. Everything is shared small size, also, excuse me. And in terms of what kind of data do you want to show, or do you want to live an autonomous life in a blockchain society? It's actually fine if you want to live an absolutely autonomous, no one knows who you are kind of life in blockchain. But if you want to live an actual life that can potentially give you better experience in social, plus a better return on investment, you might consider expose some of your data. So to just give an example, we have built a public key and private key sort of like showing and not showing sort of mechanism for a DID, for people with DID. So he can decide whether he wants to show his asset in other chain. Like for example, if I have 10 Atom on Cosmos and I want to lend, for example, 1,000 atoms on Cosmos with osmosis, something like that. In osmosis, you can only lend, given the stake that you have, probably only 90 to 100 atom, because that's how much you have. But if you decide to show how much money you have on Ethereum, it can be 100 ETH that you have on other chain. That will opens up the opportunity for lenders to give you more, this credit line and even better asset debt ratio. So you might say, hey, I have 1,000 on Ethereum, but I only have 10 in Atom. I still want to join a community job, which some project requires quite high staking. So you can do that without without really bridging your asset from other network, from other blockchains. So that would be one of the use case. So we call it social loan. And also, for example, if you want to do a post, but you don't have much marketing budget around it, the reason why you receive a higher ranking, not because only just you spend the most amount of money on it, but also you have this contribution to the society, to the community, and people vote for you, and you have a better reputation score. And you decided to show it to the public to gain better rank on your post, something like that. So there are going to be a lot of,
Sorry to interrupt. So what you're basically saying then is, yes, people can still operate anonymously if they want to. However, if people choose not to operate anonymously and they are able to express how much they have in their different wallets across multiple chains, they're going to have access to more. They're going to have access to more credit. And not only that, I think the extension of that would be eventually as DeFi expands and trust is given based on credit. So, for example, I borrow X amount of Atom and I pay however much the interest is, and I prove that I can pay back these payments via smart contract. The smart contract algorithm will then dictate, well, this person is trustworthy. Eventually, using DeFi, he or she will be able to borrow more than they actually put down in collateral, which will be a massive step for DeFi if that is able to happen in the future. So yeah, I understand what you're saying there, that through less anonymous social kind of media on the platform, it will enable you to have access to more resources and more trust in the field. That does make a lot of sense for the future, and it will eventually, help DeFi take that step into the next space, much, much closer to banking than it ever was before.
Yes, that's a very good sum up.
Oh yeah, cheers. All right, so moving forward then, let's have a look then. All right, so I mean, yes, you were talking about pockets, different pockets of kind of groups essentially, right? And I've seen a lot of like social media elements in crypto. There's a lot of firms competing with each other. Some say that, okay, you can join certain pockets that have their own designated rules, and if you like those rules, stay in. If you don't like those rules, get out and go into a different place. Now that does make sense, but it still doesn't stop illegal stuff being published. Now, again, illegal is a very fine word if you really put it between different countries. For example, printing a gun in America is certainly illegal, but printing a gun in some states might not be illegal. It depends. Now, this is the same for crypto, but there are some things which are generally considered to be universally illegal, right? For example, like Class A drugs and stuff. So my question then is, I've seen some platforms decide to do a random generated 12-person board, like a jury system. So they will say, we're going to pick 12 random users on the chain, and those are going to decide whether this platform can continue to exist or not in the way that it exists. What do you think about that kind of methodology for kind of make like deleting or removing or moderating certain platforms that, you know, have questionable activities?
Let's just say in a Web2 way, because I used to work in Binance, which is the TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And within the same building, we have 2,000 people just do the regulating content that has been sending on TikTok every day. So 2 whole floors people are just doing this content scan every day as their daily job. And of course, they are the best content creating and sharing platform in the Web2 right now, because their content is regulated within a local pace. But there is no way that a company like us, a decentralized blockchain social application, is going to hire 2,000 people team to do such things. So it leads up to the solution that there is where you can give positive feedback to a certain post, but you can also call it as a scam. So everyone, instead of having 20 random people, which is not always online to do the content regulating, we are going to have everyone in the social application that's active to have the right to say what kind of content is illegal.
It's a concern though, isn't it? This is a concern, right? Because imagine you have someone that's quite powerful that has a rival, and they create a document that's actually pretty good. And he's like, hey, this guy's document sucks. I want everybody to push the spam button. Now, how would you kind of, go about regulating that situation?
That would be a very good case if a very legal content has been liked and received revenues and received incomes through that sort of positive feedback. Because whenever a certain negative feedback content has been confirmed, all of that money is going to be transferred to whoever participate in the reporting.
Okay, so you're going to be able to monitor who is kind of pressing these buttons as, kind of where they shouldn't be, essentially. But then, again, that's all subjective in itself. This is why it's so complex, right? Because it's ultimately a very, very subjective kind of system of what is right and what is wrong. And yes, people can report, but I guess if it's in its own group of people that enjoy those kind of things, then there probably won't be that many reports anyway. It's such a complex and diverse ecosystem, this social environment, and I think regulation is really still in infancy, total infancy for it. I mean, because ultimately we can't have what's happening now, where you have Jordan Peterson, for example, made a comment on a magazine recently of an overweight woman, and he said it's not healthy. and it's exploiting her, it's exploiting the magazine, it's exploiting the people that believe that's to be healthy. And many people felt he had a good point, but regardless, Twitter blocked him. Twitter said, no, this is not healthy content for the public. We're blocking you. We don't agree with your ideology. We're centralized. Boom, you're out. It happened to Donald Trump as well. Donald Trump pushed out. So it's clear that the current model does not allow for certain narratives, and it pushes people out. But what ultimately happens is, if it doesn't allow for these narratives to exist, it goes to a darker place on the internet. It still exists. You can't kill an idea. It still exists, but it manifests, and it can make it more intense and more aggressive due to the fact that it is so consistently put down and so consistently removed from the internet. So I guess what I'm saying is, it's an incredibly complex thing to regulate, and I don't have the answer for it. And I'm sure that the answer will have to come over time via trial and error. But the current system we have at the moment does not seem to work very effectively.
No, really, is a problem to be solved, and that problem's worth billions of dollars. So
that's right. That's
there have to be some new things, and that's the chaos and uncertainty within this environment. That's fascinating, right?
Very, very fascinating. Whoever controls the keys to the largest kind of social media platforms controls the keys to thought, really.
That's why Elon Musk bought Twitter.
Why he wants Twitter, yeah. I wonder if he will get it in the end. All right, so let's move forward then. This data then that's yours, how rigid are the systems? How would it, for example, if there was basically a hacker can get into a database, right? I recently read that 1 billion Chinese accounts based on their Chinese ID, the Shenfenzheng, were hacked. So all the medical data, the age, the location, the time they're born was taken and now is being sold to the highest bidder online for 12 Bitcoins. Now, if you're in control of your own data on this blockchain, what kind of security procedures are in place to stop all of that kind of being accessed and hacked?
The mechanism of this data privacy is through IPFS. So your content will be stored by yourself. So in order to get access and hack, say, 1 million of users, you need to hack every one of their private key, because we don't store data as a centralized institution like Facebook did. We don't have anyone's data. If you want their data, the only way you can do is to get their 12 words, 24 words, their private key.
Okay.
And that's likely to leak if you give the key to someone. But IPF is like the privacy and encrypted is based on a very complicated, harsh, algorithm. And if opening of someone's wallet is that much work, it's very unlikely a hacker would do such things, because he has no idea. Well, he has idea of how much you earn as an individual, because he knows your wallet address. But as long as you don't give that private key to anyone else, there's very, very little chance that you're going to get hacked.
So it's actually really quite secure then. I mean, because even using Facebook, basically what would happen is I would never click random links, but I certainly have a lot of friends that do. And then when that link takes over their Facebook account, I mean, I'm sure many of us have received this. You receive a random message saying, hey, is this you? Click this link. And they want you to click the link so it kind of gets into your a Java link, it gets into your Facebook account and then repeats that process. So even though I didn't click that link, right? Because that person had foolishly clicked that link, that means they had access, whatever algorithm was being used was able to scrape all of my Facebook data at once. All the data that I put on there, I'm sure it's on multiple databases, not because of something I did, but because of something other people did. And yeah, that is a serious concern. So I think privacy is becoming more and more important in the global sphere. And actually, people aren't really as aware of it as they should be. They're becoming more aware of it, but it's the younger generations that are really taking hold of this concept. And it is important to be backed up and decentralized. Sorry?
Yeah, because they're not very aware of it, because their data is not monetized by themselves. they're free. They're giving it for free anyway, and they don't get any return on investment.
Yep.
If at one day you're waking up by and see your wallet receive $200 because you have published some of your data, and that data has been bought as an NFT, you're going to be very well aware of that, because that's your money making tool, right?
Because you are the product, essentially. Yeah.
Yes, you are the media. User is media. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely right. So let's move forward then. All right then. So basically, I've discussed a few benefits with you about what this kind of thing offers, right? So A, you're controlling your own data. B, it's decentralized. C, large organizations that would normally pay someone like Facebook, a centralized entity, would now be able to pay the user like you. Fifthly, you can actually do it privately just by generating your own wallet key and sending it off, and sending whatever you wanted to do on the platform. But what I want to ask, on top of all of these mediums, including the expansion of DeFi, where eventually trust is built, therefore you're going to get access to more credit and more options of investment and whatnot, what other potential future benefits can you see from social media in the cryptocurrency space? Or in the blockchain space, should I say, really?
It's on you, man.
Because as I mentioned before, like we more focus on the social graph. So we believe like in future our social graph can turn to trust graph. So trust graph we can use for different aspects of the Web3, like you mentioned, like a DeFi. For example, for DeFi, I can give you another use case. Like for example, you get high reputation, you get trustable profile. So if you mint your profile, it's gonna be like kind of valuable profile. So you can use as collateral to lend or to borrow something else. So you can use your profile to get more
as collateral.
Yeah, as collateral.
To borrow.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Any other expansions on that?
So an expansion like other than social fund, other than DeFi, other than just lending and borrowing?
Yeah, so addition to that, like we can use also for because we are different area in Web3, so yeah, most of them right now, most of the user is in DeFi, NFT, and GameFi. So this is why, like maybe in GameFi also we can use this kind of mechanism to solve this kind of problem. So maybe you have one account for different game. If you, for example, get high reputation on some game, you can use this profile to go to another game and don't start.
That's pretty
again
cool, yeah. Transferable between games. Yeah, I like that concept.
So, I mean, like, this is why, like, we focus more on the social graph and the decentralized ID, and we have some infinite use case, like, in different areas in the Web3, like a GameFi, NFT, and this is why, like, this use case is more for developers who join
protocol.
Yeah, protocol. Yeah, to use a protocol who will solve this kind of particular use case. In the same way, like the approach of Cosmos, like Cosmos more focused on to make communication between different network, right? And on top of that, many developers come and say, oh yeah, you know, the communication, maybe we can make some like a private communication with. So this is where it comes up, the idea with secret network. And other guys, maybe he say like, oh, you know, when I create some smart chain, I want to use it in that blockchain, but I want to use it in another blockchain. So this is how it comes up, you know. But you know, the founder of Cosmos don't think about this particular use case. He give the path of communication between different blockchains. He give this contribution, and then the other guys like solve his problem according to this kind of idea. So this is our approach also. We don't try to solve a particular problem. We want to focus on the social graph and decentralized ID, and we believe we can solve. This is why we first focus on the social aspect, because as I mentioned before, because this is the right timing between the intersection with NFT and game, and more and more people now are on chain. So this is why we focus on it right now. But if back to 2 years ago, maybe we focus on the DeFi problem, and or NFT or and so on. So yeah, I think we believe like many more people will have better idea than us. So this is why we plan to do some hackathon to people who can bring and contribute on our ecosystem. Obviously, the first utility we give you before is about like monetization. Content moderation also is quite difficult, tough aspect, as you mentioned. So yeah, so
it's an open question.
Yeah,
no, I mean, this is really, really interesting. And like, it's kind of like, this is what we're creating. This is what we're building. This is how we intend to grow. Like games, transferable data, fantastic. Also, I read that some blockchains are developing games where if you do well in game X and you get a certain number of tokens, you can simply sell your characters for this token as well and transfer those tokens over to another game. So yeah, having like a social kind of gaming profile, it works kind of on the Xbox. Maybe even eventually it could be connected to Xbox Live. Like these are not things that are beyond the realm of possibility. And that's where the beauty is. So essentially what you're saying is you're designing the infrastructure for this level of development because it's in such the early stages. But once this infrastructure is developed, who knows what can come of it? Yes, better DeFi. Yes, gaming. And like I said, connecting it to an Xbox profile, that wasn't something we thought of a minute ago, but maybe down the line, that is the obvious logical step. We don't know yet because it's in such the early stages of development. And it's like that Chinese phrase, isn't it? 百花齐放. Like let 100 flowers bloom. Like, let's see what happens. There's going to be so many different things like happening all the time from so many different developers. It's actually quite exciting. I think you've got me a little bit excited about it now.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, so all right then. So moving forward then, getting closer to the final question now.
Right.
And it's a bit of an abstract one as well. Where do you kind of see this going in 10 years down the line? What we're looking at with interoperability, social media on the Cosmos. Do you think there will be a competitor to YouTube, for example, that is faster, better, decentralized? People can put what they want on there without having fear of reprisal, that kind of stuff.
Wow, what a question. If we can predict that, we are we're not sitting here anyway. 10 years ago, Vitalik just entered Waterloo University as a first-year student. And 2 years after that, he's competing with the Bitcoin holder that Ethereum was not a scam. So, and now you see Ethereum is with the bigger ecosystem. So there's going to be a lot of things that we can't even imagine that happens 10 years from now. But I do know that for every years after the bear market, there's always something going on. After the bear markets in 2022, there's DeFi. 2021, there's NFT. What we need to answer, I think, for the first is after this year, 2022, after the bear market, what is going to be the next thing? I think that's what followers really, really care about, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the gamble, isn't it? That's the exciting gamble.
Yeah. Yes. So that question leads to a kind of like open answer, is that it really depends on how you see NFT as a thing. If you see it as overpriced JPEG, that means you are still buying NFT on OpenSea as collections, which means that you might have a very high possibility of losing 98% of your money because there's no many value product on as an overpriced JPEG. But you see NFT as a potential non-verification for those people who are participate in, for example, social activities, and you can wrap it your social activities and your data as an NFT and trade it and monetize through it. Then you have the answer of what is going to be the next big thing in the blockchain after 2022. If you think NFT as I don't know, like as you said, like the GameFi, or where you can trade your props, like within a certain games and wrap it and trade it on like blockchain version of Steam. That would be also be like a great questions. But we just felt like we have this very personal perspective. Let's call it that way. That the next big wave is going to be the social. Kind of related social, decentralized social media. It can not be us, but it can be any of the social applications that people are building right now. It can be Lancer, it can be CyberConnect, it can be Ulas, of course. But I suggest every of one of you can study why decentralized social tools is, a thing. It can be a thing within the next 1 year. In terms of 10 years, I do see decentralized social applications take over the control of the Facebook and YouTube, because it's just better business model and not just better product, because you can never beat Facebook by creating another Facebook, claim that it has better user experience. It's simply because Facebook can never do such things as you are doing, because their business model is built on monopoly. They would do everything to prevent users churn. They don't want users to go away from their applications. And that's the first priority and the first rule of we building decentralized social graph is we allow free flow of different users in different blockchains and applications.
Yeah, it's a fascinating new world, and yeah, I do recall that Facebook did buy Instagram, and I believe they also own WhatsApp as well, right? It's quite the monopoly of media, and why would you not want to maintain that if you're getting the biggest advertisers in the world paying you? I mean, and let's be honest, the advertisement through Facebook is exceptional. If you wanted to do an advertisement for 30 to 40-year-old professionals that have a degree living in the USA in Texas, you can easily isolate that demographic and advertise to that demographic, no problem. It's incredible marketing for exactly the demographics you require. So I can see why everybody would use that platform, as the information is given up for free. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this model changes in the next 10 years. And it was a very abstract question because we have no idea how it's going to evolve, but we do know it is going to evolve in 1,000 different forms, and let's just see what comes out on top, really.
And that's what exciting part of it.
Very, and that's why we're all in this space, right? This is the future.
Experiencing, yes.
Well, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you guys today. I really enjoyed getting to hear your thoughts on social media and crypto in the future, and what's going on with Ulas at the moment. And I definitely look forward to speaking to you again.
You as well. It was great talking with you. And some of the questions that you asked just brought up a very deep conversations and discussion within the team to just shape what we should build in terms of this product and protocol that we are building. It's getting better.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. This is the start of the future. So yeah, lovely to meet you both again. And yeah, let's do this again somewhere down the line.
Sure, no problem.
All right, guys, have a good day.
See you. Bye-bye.